Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Nexus 2.0 and we are back with a new fanfic. What if Naruto Sasuke and Ino started a family? Part 3. Anyway, the one thing I don't understand is the Ninja Academy school system. I mean, Neji's team are only a year older than Naruto's classmates and there is only one school. I don't see how they couldn't have known about them, since in any school system, knowing your upperclassmen is always a thing. Did they just have different school days or class times like college because of the shortage of teachers? I mean, did Iruka teach Neji's team before graduation that should have taken place the year before? I believe Rock Lee was aware of who Sakura was because she was only a class younger. Underscore. After another grueling training session, Team 7 was allowed to rest. They all laid back against a tree, feeling the urge to sleep, but they forced themselves to stay awake. Ino made for conversation, so plan on asking Kakashi-sensei about your parents, yet, Naruto. No, I'm not ready yet. I just need a little more time to brace myself, you know. I get it. I wouldn't know what to do if I just discovered that my dad was the head of the village's analysis team. One of the most prestigious clans in the village, while having a little flower shop on the side. Hey, maybe your dad was Hokage. Ha, you think the old man is my dad? Naruto referred to the third. The wrinkles on his face makes him look like he has whiskers. Why not? The boys softly laughed at her little joke. Naruto then asked, "Hey, Ino, can we go see your grandpa today?" Sure. He actually loves visitors. Quote, Kakashi hummed into their conversation as he handed them water to drink. The kids gulped it down in a few gulps. You guys are going on a visit? Oh yeah, we saw Ino's great-great-great-grandpa yesterday. He was really cool. Oh, you mean Inoma-sama. If that was who you were visiting, I would have loved to have come with you guys. Sorry, sensei. But you know the rules. No one who has been within the Chunin ranks are allowed to see my grandpa. Quote, what? Naruto and Sasuke didn't know of this. Ino sighed. When my grandpa decided to quit being a shinobi, it actually came with a long set of rules. My grandpa is actually not allowed to leave the mountain we were at, and no official that is within the Chunin ranks or higher are allowed to see him. That's because they hold important information and my grandpa isn't allowed to be involved within any political decision of the village. In short, he's treated like a virus that's put into containment. Not even my own dad can see my grandpa now that he rose through the ranks. And sooner or later, neither will I. What the hell? That's so unfair. It's already been 100 years. It shouldn't matter anymore. Quote, Kakashi corrected Naruto, saying that is like saying a promise shouldn't matter anymore. Inoma-sensei chose to become a criminal. You shouldn't make light of criminal activity or else no one will be served justice. Quote, but never losing the hope in someone you love should never be treated like something so bad that they became a criminal. Ino reminded him that someone tried to destroy the village, Naruto. I understand that you feel sorry for my grandpa. I do, too. But my grandpa made his choices, knowing full well of the consequence. Naruto huffed, crossing his arms. But people can change. We don't know why the Uchiha guy did what he did, so we have no right to judge. It's just like with Zabuza and Haku, isn't it? They became the way they were because people were cruel. What needed to be changed wasn't them, but how the Mist Village chose to unfairly treat them. When I become Hokage, I'm going to free your grandpa, Ino. Believe it. Everyone was silent by Naruto's sudden heartfelt and passionate declaration. Ino softly smiled at him, placing her hand on his head. Knucklehead. If you want to do something like that, then you better learn some politics. You can't just say you'll do something. You'll have to go through a lot of paperwork. Naruto frowned because he knew he wasn't really that bright and paperwork sounded the worse. Ino inwardly giggled, I'll help you out. I don't want to stop seeing my grandpa, either. The two blondes grinned at each other. Sasuke tried not to glare at this affection. He felt alienated and tried to remain alienated, but Ino called out to him, and you, too. Right, Sasuke. Or maybe Sasuke should become Hokage since he's the actual genius. She teased. Hey, nobody is becoming the next Hokage but me. But Sasuke can be my advisor guy and you can be my secretary, Ino. Nothing's better than working for me, right? Sasuke couldn't help letting out a short laugh from that joke. I bet by advisor guy, you mean the one doing all the work. No, just the boring stuff. Quote. Ino smacked his head, that's not what the Hokage's right-hand man is for. It will be when I'm in charge. Good lord, we're going to have a tyrant. Ino dramatically sighed. The kids got up, still feeling sore, but energized. Sorry, Kakashi-sensei, but we can't invite you for obvious reasons. It's alright. I'll see you guys tomorrow. He disappeared. The kids made their way to the mountain, and Anoma greeted them happily and served them some special dumplings that pumped up their youth again. That way, they could train again, but this time with him as their teacher. The Inoshikacho is a balance of the mind, body and soul, be each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses. Anoma told them as him and Ino slowly moved to demonstrate their taijutsu style. Delicate glass balls were scattered across the ground. The Nara clan represents the mind of our alliance. Someone who remains not too close or too far from their enemies. They are able to use the darkness as a weakness, but they are thinkers, not fighters. In a fight or flight response, if alone, their first thought is the run. Huh, never thought Shikamaru was a coward. Naruto commented, but Sasuke corrected him, it's not cowardice when the odds are against you. Everyone's combat style comes with both pros and cons. Your shadow clone jutsu for an example. Although you do have multiple clones that can help widen your range of possibilities, doing such a jutsu can dramatically decrease your strength. Of course, you are a member of the Uzumaki clan, so that con doesn't necessarily affect you, but another con is your lack of a strategic mind. Your tactical mind has been improving, but your lack of self-restraint to see the bigger picture of a situation has cost us. Like what happened when we faced Haku. Ino added, that's something Sasuke and I have been trying to make up for. We try to utilize your boundless energy, range and devious mind while also holding you back so you don't hurt yourself since you always head into danger first. Naruto grimaced at how he felt like they were roasting him. Anoma continued the lesson, good. You two were able to be observant of your other teammates. Naruto, it seems that you are too focused on yourself. My Ino had told me that you like to push yourself too hard at any given opportunity. PFF'd. I used to be the same when I was your age. Really? Naruto's eyes sparkled at having similarities with the old man. Oh yeah, I was such a troll. Playing pranks on people and getting myself in dangerous situations. I was nearly killed by the enemy multiple times, but I've always been able to get myself out of the situation and lie to my mom that I didn't encounter anyone. As I grew older, though, I became more gentlemanlike and ridicule people with fancy words so they didn't know I was. It was always hilarious when they caught on. Grandpa, your lesson. Ino reminded him. Right. The Akamaiki clan represents the body of our alliance. Someone who faces the enemy face to face, but not as a weapon but as a shield with their body. We're not warriors. The Inoshikacho are only meant to gather intelligence within the shadows. The Akamachi member is to act as our security guard. Their expanded body is meant to cover us as we do our job, and be our distraction to help us escape with our knowledge. But despite saying that, they are neither thinkers nor fighters. They are lovers. They only fight for the sake to protect. But despite all that strength, what is the weakness? Sasuke answered, their weapon is their body. The Akamichi clan are known to be quite formidable since their bodies are durable against damage, but that's on the outside. If they fight against enemies that can target the inside of their body, then they are defeated. Huh, inside their body? How could someone do that? Naruto inquired. And his teammate answered, there are many ways such as those from the Aburame clan could plant insects inside him or they could be injected by poison through the food they consume. Anoma nodded. Correct. As expected from an Uchiha. For the Yamanaka clan, despite being one who uses jutsus of the mind, we represent the soul of our alliance. Quote, is it because of your empathy? The curious whisker boy inquired. Anoma nodded. And by now you should realize that the Yamanaka clan are the fighters. We are by far the most reckless of the trio. Our famous technique, the mind transfer technique, require us to be within mid-range with assistance to restrain the target and to keep our bodies protected. In such a world we live in where trust is fragile, it's crazy to think you'd leave yourself so vulnerable in the hands of the other. It's truly a testimony of faith in your comrades. But with Shikano and Chochura, I never questioned their loyalty. As lazy as Shikano was and as hesitant Chochura was, I put myself in their hands without question. Quote, the grandfather then dipped his hand beneath one of the delicate glass balls on the ground so he could balance them on his arms. Ino did the same to show her effortless grace that was instilled through her old man. Naruto hummed to that. I always did think the mind transfer jutsu is weird. I mean leaving yourself inside someone's body and you could die if either of your bodies were killed. I mean it's cool to possess another person's body, it came handy a couple of times during missions and training, but I don't think it's worth the risks. Ino explained, it's more than possessing a body, Naruto. Like my grandpa told you, we used to be farmers that grew into fields like combat and the hospital. The mind transfer jutsu was created in order to her animals, but it involved into being able to figure out where an animal's pain was located so that farmers and veterinarians could make better diagnoses. Then we became spies who could gather information into interrogation specialists who could break into the most hardened criminals. It may come with the risk of my life, but with all the good it can do, I'll do it. Anoma then looked to Sasuke. Beautifully put, Ino, but that's enough about our clans. What about you, Sasuke? Wish to share your clan's culture and history? Quote, Sasuke blankly stared at the old man. To be honest, he was surprised by the question. So many adults already had their assumptions of his clan. They weren't entirely off the mark, but it always sounded shallow. He spoke, for the history of the Uchiha, it's something you could probably read in the history books. The Uchiha clan were once a rival clan of the first Hokage's clan, the Senju clan. Many bloody battles were fought before Hashirama Senju and my ancestor, Madara Uchiha became allies. The Uchiha clan has always stood as the most powerful clan in the village, becoming its police force since. Naruto asked, Senju clan? Haven't heard of them. Anoma explained, that's because the Senju clan had integrated with other clans, so anyone among us could be related to Hashirama. I know for a fact that my children aren't, but either of you could. Me. A Senju. Cool. Then I belong to two clans. You might belong to two clans. Ino corrected him as she delicately placed her glass ball on the ground. She was huffing for air unlike her grandfather, which showed how straining the training was despite having years of practice. Anoma then continued the lessons. The combinations of clans can bring about a stronger sense of community within a person or divide them by such a useless tool called pride. The Inoshikacho don't consider each other stronger or better than the other. Just because you belong to a clan close to the Hokage or a respected clan that passed you powerful unique gifts, or just being someone who aspires to be above them all alone, it all means to not if people refuses to look you straight in the eye as a fellow comrade. Naruto's eyes widened at amazement while Sasuke huffed at that. Anoma smiled at the Uchiha boy. Looks like we have quite the proud one here. Ino tells me that you act as the leader of the group. Quote, yeah, it's because I'm better that I can lead this group. Then how about a one-on-one then? My taijutsu versus your fancy ninja moves. The old man crossed his arms confidently. It's been a while since I kicked some Uchiha, but with these feet. Quote, hey. The boy smirked as the two went to a clearing in the mountain. Ino moaned in worry. Naruto asked what's wrong and Ino answered, I should have warned you guys. My grandpa. Sasuke charged, but before he understood what was happening he was on the ground with feeling a tight pressure on his chest as if he's been hit but he didn't see it. as a taijutsu specialist. Back when my grandpa used to have his own team of genins, one of them actually couldn't use genjutsu or ninjutsu. Everyone at the village thought he was crazy, but he proved them wrong. It wasn't something my grandpa started, but there are ninjas around the world who can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu like that weird upperclassman with the bushy brows. Oh right. What was his name? Broccoli. Quote, I don't know, but they exist and my grandpa is one of them since he lost his chakra. Sasuke may be a genius, but there's a point where bronze beat brains. Anoma smirked down at Sasuke who was still in shock. The boy began to feel pain rise in other areas of his body. The old man explained, your Sharingan can do many powerful things, but it requires to see the enemy. Your sensei Kakashi struggled with his second fight with Zabuza due to that. So we can safely say that your weakness is your pride. Sasuke immediately tried to attack the Yamanaka elder, but the boy suddenly found himself thrown to a tree. Anoma held him against it by the throat. And no manners. Understand one thing, young man, I'm placing one of the most precious children in your care. So far you've proven to be a good teammate, but if you truly want to become a Chunin, you're going to have to learn some humility since your sensei won't be there to keep you in line. Quote, Sasuke glared furiously at Anoma with his Sharingan in full bloom. Inside them, they both had 2 comma marks. Anoma smirked, leaping back and allowing the boy to attack. Anoma went just a bit slower for the boy to try out his awakened ability to clearly read and copy his movements. Sasuke could tell that the old man was holding back, which annoyed him because even then, he was no match. Ino made a step forward, but she held herself back. Naruto was surprised to see Sasuke helplessly losing when he usually was so cool and could face Kakashi. The two just kept watching with some snacks for a good 3 hours before Sasuke no longer moved a single muscle. Anoma didn't break a sweat at all. Ino went over to Sasuke and she used her medical ninjutsu that she mastered. She frowned at how hurt Sasuke was, but she didn't make a comment. Wow, you really are something, old man Anoma. You're over 100 but you move so fast that I couldn't tell where you were at all. Can you teach me to get that fast? Naruto was feeling goosebumps. It's going to take you a couple of years to reach that speed if you are willing to put in the hard work, but I'm more interested in teaching you the Uzumaki clan techniques. Quote, the Uzumaki clan techniques. Hell yeah, as a distant relative to Mito, I have to teach you their techniques. Don't tell anyone this, but Mito and I shared each other the secret of our techniques when it's supposed to be a secret. She winked at Naruto. But it's getting late, so we'll start you training tomorrow. Feeling better, Uchiha boy? Sasuke got up, huffing for air, glaring intensely with all the hate he could muster. The 3 of them left the mountain. Sasuke. Ino called out to him. Just so you know, my grandpa wasn't mocking you. He gave him the ass kicking he needed. Naruto finished for her. Naruto. What? You noticed, too, right? You've always been stuck up from the get-go, and it's been driving on my nerves since day one. But Anoma proved that you're not all that great to begin with. Sasuke glared at him yet smirked cruelly. Who are you to chide me, Konoha's #1 rookie? You who screw up every mission we go on and was a chicken when we faced our first real threat. Naruto flinched by being called out, but he remained stubborn. Shut up. I know I may not be the best ninja yet and I talk big, but at least I'm not actually pretending that I already better than everyone else under all that coolness. You may be called a genius but all I see is someone who is only slightly above average, and is a total idiot when it comes to AC. Ting like a decent person. Say that to my face again. Sasuke was seething with rage. His fists trembling at his sides. Better yet, let me punch it into your face since your eyes are better than your ears. Quote, the two charged at each other. Enough. Ino grabbed both of their wrists before they could begin, and threw them to the ground. You two need to get your attitude together. This is exactly what my grandpa was talking about. I get it that you two are rivals, but you need to stop using each other as punching bags for your own personal issues. We're supposed to support each other. not tear each other down. We've been doing great as a team. Sasuke, you are a great leader and a ninja, but you need to put more faith in us as not only your teammates but also your friends. I don't have friends. I'm only tolerating this team until we become Chunin, and once I succeed in that, this team will become history. Quote, fine. We don't need you. Quiet. Ino controlled her own anger. You don't actually mean that, do you, Naruto? Just be honest. I said quiet. Ino snapped at Sasuke, who shut his mouth. She then glared at Naruto, who didn't want to be honest, but he knew better than to upset Ino. Okay. Fine. I don't actually mean it. I respect you as both my rival and my teammate. Hey, maybe even friends. This team needs you, Sasuke, but I'm trying my best, so it needs me, too. If you want to bump heads, we'll bump heads. If you want to knock me down, then I'll get right back up and knock you down harder, and expect you to stand up as my rival. And if you need to talk, Naruto dropped his gaze. We'll talk. Everything became heavily silent. Naruto brought his gaze back up to Sasuke to show that he was true to his words. Sasuke was overwhelmed by those words. You must kill your best friend. Sasuke cast his gaze down as a cold feeling rose in his heart. He then felt his hand being held. He saw that it was Ino holding his hand, and her gaze were just as reaching as Naruto's. Sasuke didn't feel alone, but behind them, he imagined Itachi standing from a distance. He pulled Ino's hand away from his and avoided Naruto's gaze. I did it to measure my own power. If you want to kill me, then live miserably. Hate me. There's no such thing as complete loyalty. Even the Inoshikacho can't always remain loyal to one another. The alliance will crumble eventually when a bad seed is born. Your own grandpa, Ino, chose an evil man over her village. Loyalty isn't always clear-cut and never forever. Quote. True. Ino. Naruto was horrified that she agreed so easily. Ino explained, my grandpa did betray the village for love. And for every Inoshikacho generation, there is always the fear that at one point the alliance will dissolve. But living in apprehension like the second will only make what you fear come true. I believe in you and Naruto, and I hope that we can be a team. I hope that whenever you're in trouble, Sasuke, like when you're facing the man who destroyed your clan, that you will call for me, Naruto and Kakashi to be by your side. Aren't we all becoming stronger for a dream? That's right. Naruto cried out. My dream is to be Hokage. Ino is going to lead her clan, and you will get vengeance for your clan, Sasuke. Quote, I don't need you to fulfill that. Doesn't matter. Naruto grinned. We'll stand by you, Sasuke, because that's what a team is for. I may not like you a whole lot, but this guy who hurt your village deserves an ass kicking, and if he happens to have friends, Ino and I'll take care of it. Ino nodded in agreement. Sasuke frowned at their stubbornness. They weren't strong enough to face his brother or even his friends. They don't know the true power Itachi possessed. They didn't even understand the full weight of his vengeance, that they could barely shoulder any of it. But his brain couldn't stop repeating, you're not alone. How about we go have some onigiri? My treat. Ino offered to break the atmosphere. Oh, I'm up for that. Sasuke turned away. I need to be alone. Quote, what? Be you. Leave it, Naruto. Ino smiled at him. Some things come harder to people. Just give him time. Naruto grimaced, but he respected Sasuke's space. The two then went to get onigiri together. On Sasuke's way, he encountered Kakashi, who was sitting on a bench, reading his book. No words were said. He just sat next to the man. How was your day with Inoma-sama? His sensei asked nonchalantly. Terrible. He manipulated us into getting into this huge fight about teamwork, only to have it strengthen. It's all a cliché, but it's working, otherwise, you wouldn't be so worried about it. You have seemed distracted today. Quote. Kakashi. Sasuke hesitated to continue as he felt a faint tingle on his forehead as if someone had poked him. He hummed to encourage the younger to speak. I heard that you became a Chunin at 6. Quote. Ah, That was only because we were at times of war. The requirements to become a chunin were low so they could recruit more soldiers to the battlefields. Of course I became a chunin at a younger age than my peers, but whether I truly deserved such a position. I don't know that myself. What do you mean? Sasuke sort of knew his answer, but he wanted to hear him say it. Kakashi got up. Let's take a walk, shall we? Sasuke followed him until they stopped at the Konoha cemetery and stood before Tsukumo Hataki's grave. Kakashi told Sasuke the story of his father's fame and glory that ended in suffering and tragedy. Do you remember what I told you the day you became a genin? That those who break the rules and the code of the ninja world are scum. But those who don't take care of their comrades are lower than scum. His dark thoughts were brightened at the thought of Naruto and Ino. He also felt very conscious of Kakashi near him. He quickly discarded it with skepticism. But the comrades your father saved set themselves up to be sacrificed for the sake of the mission. Didn't he betray their pride for his own morals? You could ask the same to those comrades of his. Did the mission truly matter over the lives of those comrades? The village did face several losses, but we are still standing as a nation. And those ninjas could still see their families and friends another day. I still see most of them alive today, and they walk by their children and grandchildren. Happily. Naruto and you started in this team with nothing to lose, but before you know it, you do have someone to lose. Are they worth sacrificing for one agenda? Sasuke thought of Ino and the family and friends she was surrounded with. She was well known by the village because of the flower shop. Every little mission they went on, they would know her because they've visited the shop. To sacrifice her for the sake of a mission, the whole village would seem to have shifted a bit awkwardly without her standing behind the counter of tea. Hat flower shop greeting people with a smile. It was strange, but for the first time, Sasuke truly felt responsible for a human life with a death that could affect many. Kakashi continued, Naruto and Ino are willing to lay down their lives for the sake of the mission. It's what you've been taught to do, but for the reason, you should think carefully on that. The sensei turned to leave, but Sasuke immediately requested, please teach me. He turned his head to the boy. The 12-year-old repeated, teach me what you know, copy Ninja Kakashi of the Sharingan. Kakashi entered the Hokage's office to report, it seems that Inoma-sama plans on teaching Naruto about the Uzumaki Kan. Quote, the Hokage was deeply surprised by this. So he met Ima-sensei. It was only yesterday, and Naruto is fond of him. But Lord Hokage, can we trust Inoma-sama to not reveal the Kyuubi's presence to Naruto? Quote, Hiruzen thought on this before answering, it's been over half a century since I last seen Ima-sensei. I'm still shocked to this day that he chose to remain faithful to Madara over the village. If the village knew of this, it could spread chaos since the rumors of the Uchiha involvement to the incident 12 years ago are not forgotten. But, Ima-sensei has never been one to lose reason. I see that in her grandchildren. He closed his eyes to faintly remember the great beauty standing before the shrine gate of the Yamanaka mountain. Inoma Yamanaka was truly a man who was once a goddess in the past life. His golden platinum hair that reached to the back his knees shined softly by the sunlight. His eyes like lark spurs dyed in purple and blue. He had said all his goodbyes to his friends and family, and now, he was the only one left because Inoma wanted to speak to him before he entered his new life. Hiruzen, his thin lips spoke with a light-hearted male's voice that didn't ruin the feminine beauty he possessed, this will be the last time I see you. Ima-sensei, you probably feel conflicted between your love for me and your loyalty to the village. Don't follow my example, Hiruzen. Your clan is responsible for guiding the next Inoshikacho, and someday one of your children will take on that responsibility. I need you to be a great shinobi for your kid to take after. Ima-sensei, don't let your heart be light on others, Hiruzen. Even on those you love. PFFBT. What am I talking about? You're a complete sap. You have such a great heart and a genius mind, but you're all out of balance. He turned away. Ima-sensei. Hiruzen, your sensei Tobarama is a predictable man, and yet even though I hated him with all my heart, I still hoped that he'd do the right thing for once. His breath became ragged. I hoped for so much from this village. I had such great hopes. I believed that it could endure anything. He gulped down the air, his throat becoming too tight to properly breathe. Hiruzen, Hiruzen, Hiruzen. He whimpered his name. Hiruzen held his head down, feeling helpless. Don't set me free. He rose his head again at those words. Never set me free. He walked into the mountain where a jutsu was cast so that no chunin or others of a higher rank could ever see, hear, or touch him again. You never got the chance to meet him, Kakashi. Despite Ima-sensei's betrayal to the village, he still loved Konoha with all his heart. I am confident he has no plans to put this village's safety at risk. Quote. Kakashi nodded to his words. If the Hokage believed so, then he guessed he could take the risk. Underscore. No more team training. Ino was surprised since that seemed to be the overall theme for them from Kakashi. For the meantime, it looks like all of you are interested in learning elsewhere, and Sasuke had asked me to personally mentor him with the Sharingan. So this is your answer. Naruto pointed at Sasuke furiously. Take away our training time with Kakashi-sensei. Well, if you put it in that way, it doesn't sound so bad. He grinned excitedly. Kakashi stood before a tree since he couldn't bear to look at anyone at the moment. He almost regretted passing these children. Ino worriedly asked, so is this what you wanted, Sasuke? To exclude us after all? Sasuke coolly answered, it's only for a while. You are trying to master your medical ninjutsu and have been unable to also concentrate in learning more of your Yamanaka techniques. Naruto is learning his clan's techniques from your grandfather, and I learned yesterday that I still have room for improvement. Something Kakashi can teach me since he has a more advanced Sharingan than me. Quote. Kakashi turned back to them, hiding his hurt feelings, to add, we'll continue doing missions together, but for at least the next 3 months, we'll all improve ourselves, and then further work on our teamwork by then. I'm sure you'll all make me proud. Oh, you bet I will. I'm gonna work hard day and night, baby. I'm gonna become even stronger than you, Sasuke. Believe it, Naruto declared haughtily, making Sasuke unable to take him seriously, but he was up for the challenge. Yet Ino reminded them, but you two will have to leave room for next week. It's going to be the Tanabata festival, and my mom is inviting you over to celebrate and has yukata for us to wear for the festival. You can come, too, Kakashi-sensei. Oh, I'd love to. Oh, I'll definitely come. Ino looked to Sasuke expectantly. The boy coolly answered, whatever. Great. See you guys then. And so Team 7 split ways for their training. Ino had mastered to heal small wounds like the one Sasuke had, so she still had a long way to improve. Sasuke and Kakashi went over to the Rocky Mountains to train until nightfall. And Naruto went over to Anoma's mountain every day to train. Anoma told Naruto the stories, holidays, traditions and languages that the Uzumaki knew and spoke of while he taught him their taijutsu techniques. He made native dishes and pointed out the other cultural significance in Konoha that went beyond the red swirl. Naruto would then relay this to Ino and Sasuke during their missions in the morning and when they went on to travel. On the week of the Tanabata festival, the three of them got ready at Choji's place since his home was like a mansion with a wide backyard that had bamboo for them to tie their wish. S2. Team 7, Team 10 with their parents and senseis were there. Iruka-sensei was also present since Naruto asked if he could come celebrate with them, too. Ino's mother provided the boys with their yukata. Sasuke got a midnight blue one with a black sash. Naruto got a gray one with an orange sash since Ino told the woman he loved the color orange. Kakashi and Iruka helped them put it on while Ino dressed up with her sister and mother. Ino wore a white yukata with purple and white morning glory flower prints. Her hair was put into a bun and accessorized with kanzashi as well. Anoni wore the same yukata as the boys. For the wishes, Naruto wrote down that his wish to be the best Hokage like usual. Ino wished to meet a handsome boy who'll sweep her off her feet. Sasuke wished for new ninja gear. Anoni wished for awesome gloves. Shikamaru wished for more breaks. Choji wished for more potato chips. Asuma was really private with his wish, but Anoni spilled the beans that he's been flirting with Iba's sensei. Kakashi wasn't sure of what to wish for while Iruka wished for a great future for his students. The Junin was impressed by his considerate thoughts and had him help him think of a wish. Ino became suspicious of this behavior. He's totally flirting with Iruka sensei. She whispered to her friends. Anoni covered Naruto's mouth before he could scream. Sasuke looked like he was about to, too. Shikamaru and Choji didn't give a crap. Ya think. But teach there is dense. Anoni pointed out. Iruka sensei is not dense. Naruto whispered at them. Romantically. Golden boy. Romantically. You seriously think they're flirting? They just look like they're talking. Ino pointed out. Yeah, but Kakashi actually looks attentive instead of having dead fish eyes. Naruto observed. Oh, now that you say it, he's standing up straighter and a lot closer than usual. Quote. The two looked to Sasuke to join, but the male looked away quickly. Anoni snickered. Can't stand your first love getting taken, huh? Sasuke glared at her but in a comical way. Naruto gasped. You're in love with Iruka sensei. Quote. No, I'm not. Shut up, idiot. You shut up. You both be quiet. Ino scolded them. Kakashi and Iruka looked over to the kids while Asuma rather avoid eye contact with them. They, except for Asuma who also noticed Kakashi's obvious attraction for the school teacher, wondered what they were getting all passionate about. After that, they had lunch before heading to the festival grounds together. The adults had given the children money so they could enjoy plenty more food and games. Naruto and Anoni got really competitive with each other while Choji and Shikamaru just watched them of amusement. Ino looked over to Sasuke. Is there anything you'd like to do, Sasuke? Festival games are lame. Oh, come on now and relax. You've been training non-stop with Kakashi sensei for a week and I know you guys don't stop till it's the dead of night. There's gotta be something you'd like to do for fun that's relaxing. Sasuke glared at her out of slight irritation, but he walked away with her following him. Shikamaru watched them go out of suspicion as they began talking out of earshot. He didn't necessarily like Sasuke because he just screamed bad news, but he trusted Ino to take care of herself so he let them go. As Sasuke and Ino walked, the boy reminded her, I'm an Avenger. Only I can kill him. I have to become stronger than him. Every moment I spend wasting my time here, I'm getting nowhere near to beating him. Sasuke remembered back to how he reacted when he thought Itachi would kill him, that time. Crying. His thoughts were interrupted when Ino held his shoulder as a gesture for him to stop. That's not true, Sasuke. Every moment you're spending off the training grounds, you're forging bonds. You're creating an identity away from just being a tool for vengeance. I meet too many great shinobi who felt empty because they didn't do that. When you do get your justice, Sasuke, you'll lose the main reason to train as hard as you did, but you'll still keep the others, training to make sure Naruto doesn't beat you, training so you could achieve other dreams. There must be something else you want to truly accomplish besides vengeance. I want to restore my village. More than that, Ino pushed him to think. Those are jobs you're giving yourself to do, but I want you to think of what you want to do that'll make you truly happy. My father often tells me to live for happiness today, but it doesn't hurt to make a long-term goal for it. What makes you happy, Sasuke? The boy didn't know. He was so focused on vengeance and filling himself with hatred that happiness was never on his mind. He hadn't actually felt that emotion in a long time. He'd be thrilled and excited during battle and training, but the type of happiness that Ino was asking for was something filled with contentment. He looked down in shame. Quote. I don't know. Then let's discover that. This festival is the perfect place. She grabbed his hand and pulled him to where they were selling masks. Ino went for a cute cat masks while Sasuke went for the Oni. Anbu would wear the animal masks. Do you want to become one someday, Sasuke, after we become Chunin? To become an Anbu, you have to be specially hand-picked by the Hokage. I wouldn't mind becoming one. But, Ino felt that Sasuke had more to say. Sasuke hesitated to speak, but his mouth felt honest. Before the destruction of my village, I wanted to become a captain in our police force just like my father. Your dad was the captain of the police force, wasn't he? Ino reminisced. I remember him, my dad, and Konoha's commanding officer Morino Ibiki of the interrogation force talking together since they caught a rather difficult suspect, or I think that was the case. My dad told me that Konoha was peaceful thanks to the police force, and it allowed for more ninjas to dispatch onto missions. It's been difficult since. So is that something Todd would make you happy? Recreating Konoha's police force. It may not be filled with shinobi with Sharingan, but it could definitely put back some structure into this village since it continues to expand. Crime will only get worse if no one does something about it. Quote, no. Sasuke answered, if Konoha wanted a police force again without the Uchiha, then they should have made one. To create a police force without other Uchiha, it wouldn't be the same. The point of the police force was to keep Konoha's crime rate among ourselves down, but for me, it was about the Uchiha pride. Our abilities made us suited for the duty, and when I do restore my village, perhaps we could recreate the police for or something different. Ino sighed. So that's another job, huh? She looked around for something to do. She perked up at the sight of some nice grilled meat they could enjoy. She knew his favorite foods, but still asked his opinion on others. She then had him join her in games where she cheered him on, and as expected, they proved too easy for the skilled ninja. They denied the awards since they had no use for stuffed animals or toys. For a moment, Ino got distracted when she saw a group of cute older guys pass by. She flirtatiously greeted them and told them to stop by at the flower shop. Sasuke was used to her doing that, and the two continued on to explore the booths. Yet when the parade started to being, Ino pulled him away to go to the attractions such as the tunnel where it looked like they entered the night and the Milky Way was flourishing above them. It was getting really crowded since the parade is beginning, so I figured you'd rather be in here. She let him know. It looks like festivals really isn't your thing, huh? The games are too easy. You don't care for the sweet food, and it's all loud and crowded. Maybe you could become a librarian after all this. Sasuke couldn't help snorting at that. I knew it was fruitless to begin with. I wonder if that idiot hadn't been kicked out yet with your sister. Ino giggled at that. I wouldn't be surprised if they were. I'll feel bad if Shikamaru and Choji get kicked out, too. Last year, Anoni accidentally destroyed a booth because she hit the target too hard. My sister is scary strong. You should know since everyone besides you and Naruto were too scared to face her one-on-one. Even when she's restraining herself, she's too much. But, I couldn't ask for a better older sister, I guess. Quote. Quote. Sasuke frowned at those words. He used to think the same way. His forehead began to tingle again as he thought back to how amazing yet distant Itachi was. His thoughts were interrupted again when he felt Ino's hand. Sasuke. She appeared worried and apologetic. Sorry. I guess talking about family isn't the best subject. It's not that. He was quick to defend. It does bring up thoughts of the past, but that shouldn't stop you from sharing. Besides, it wouldn't be like you if you weren't annoyingly talkative. Ino's jaw dropped in comedic, passive-aggressive anger. Well, sorry that I'm annoyingly talkative, mister. Too good to speak more than a word during a friendly conversation. I'll let you know I talk this much because you don't talk enough. Naruto and I don't have this problem. Naruto is not normal to begin with. He parades around as a woman to get his way. Ino tried to retort that, but he was so right. Instead she burst out laughing. Sasuke couldn't help smirking along with her because Naruto was just ridiculous. She began reminiscing with Sasuke about all his hilarious habits and failures and even success. The two then began talking about missions and then what-ifs and strategies. They would throw in a sarcastic remark or a joke. The conversation carried throughout the tunnel until they reached the end, and to their surprise, it was raining. Ino moaned sad. Ah, it looks like Orihime and Hikaboshi won't be seeing each other today. You know, it sucks that they can only meet once a year, and within that 1 year, Orihime is working really hard just to make her father happy so she can see the one she loves. And if it rains, then tough luck. It's just unfair, you know. That may be, but they are gods. A year passing for them is like a week. But with a wistful heart, a year could pass like a decade. If she is working as hard as she does, and he the same, it should pass quickly. Quote, but after a hard day of work, a silent night comes, and a worried mind can't sleep the heavy hours away. I'm sure they had practice. Anything can happen in a week the same as anything happening in a year. Even gods can meet their end. I doubt her father will allow such a thing to happen if he wants to continue getting those beautiful clothes. A father's love isn't that cheap. Are you saying I'm right, then? Quote, Ino's mouth was open to retort, and she was left hanging. God, I love and hate that smart brain of yours sometimes. But hey, that means you believe that two lovers can remain faithful. We're shinobi. Faithfulness is to be expected. Ino sighed, if only that were true for marriage. Ninjas who go on long missions would act unfaithful when they get the chance so they could put their full concentration on the mission, and to make it fair, they allow their spouse to do the same. When I find the one I marry, I don't want it to be like that. You pretty much know what type of guy the first like, but what about you, Sasuke? You need to find a wife to restore your village, so what kind of woman would she be? Quote, Sasuke replied, the quiet and obedient type, but not one that's submissive. She will be in charge of raising the future Uchiha children, so I expect her to be strong. Huh, the Yamato Nadeshiko type then. I think we had that type in class. The Hyuga girl. She's the quiet type who seems obedient, but she's from a pretty strong clan. But that clan happened to have their own dujutsu, so we'll have to think of someone else. So, how about Sakura? Sasuke was surprised by the suggestion. Ino didn't look at him as she explained, I know Sakura's trying her hardest to get your attention, that it's troubling her teammates. She really likes you, Sasuke, and she may not seem it now, but she's a bud waiting to bloom into a FL. Or far more beautiful than the cosmos. Ino looked up at the cloudy gray sky as the rain continued to pour. Everyone in class thought she was the prettiest, and she's also has a big brain behind the billboard of hers. If you two had a child, she'd also be a gifted genius with amazing beauty. Sasuke furrowed his brows. What are you getting at, Ino? Ino looked his way, which allowed him to see the pain in her eyes, but Ino remained strong to speak her mind. I like you, Sasuke. I still like you even when I know we can't be together and that I'm not your type. But, to be honest, part of why I like you is because I don't want to lose to Sakura. I realize that by the more time I spend with you and I think of her. It's been weighing on my mind, but I honestly believe Sakura loves you more than I ever could, and I accept that. She didn't know what she was feeling after confessing. A part of her felt free, but another evenly split half felt trapped. So I guess what I'm saying is that Sakura may not know this, but I'm rooting for her, so as her rival and best friend in disguise, please consider her feelings. Sasuke was silent. He remained silent when Naruto found them soaking wet with the others and telling them that the festival was cancelled. So they had to get back home. They went back to Choji's place where they stayed for dinner and a slumber party. Ino was acting like her usual self as they began playing a board game where they had to figure out what they've been transformed into by the other team, and also figure out riddles, steal information and destroy the enemy's territory. The board game really showed their strengths and weaknesses. Shikamaru proved to have a genius intellect after all, since he could figure out his enemy's strategies and get the most out of his sacrifice. Naruto was the complete opposite, but he seemed to be able to pull out some wild cards to get him still running through the game. Choji was either very aggressive or very passive depending on what the awards were. The Yamanaka twins once again proved to be the most effective spies of the game, that they have been able to rob the others under their noses. Yet Anoni proved to take on the more aggressive approach while Ino was more passive. Sasuke was able to keep up with Shikamaru effortlessly, and his determination was what made him dominate the game entirely from every angle. They played on till they fell asleep. Ino and Sasuke seem weird. Naruto said out of the blue while they were slowly doing fighting styles of the Uzumaki clan. Anoma hummed for him to continue. I mean, they act normal, but everything else seem off. Like something happened at the festival the other day or something, and I don't know what it is. Quote, why don't you ask them? 'Cause it's none of my business. I asked Kakashi sensei though, and he doesn't know either. He was too busy going on a date with Iruka sensei. You seem to be taking your two teachers going on a date really well. Quote, I mean, I was shocked at first, but it's none of my business who Iruka sensei decides to date. He might actually be a good influence for Kakashi sensei. It's Sasuke and Ino I'm worried about. So Ino likes Sasuke, but Sasuke doesn't really like Ino the same way, and everything was cool, but something definitely happened, and I think it has something to do with that. Love is a terrifying feeling that makes things complicated. Maybe it has something to do with that girl you like. Sakura. Hey, did Ino tell you? A granddaughter shouldn't hide too much from her only great-great-great-grandfather. Naruto frowned, but he focused on the real issue. So why do you think Sakura could be involved? Quote, there's always someone involved, and she's my best guess. Anyway, I think we should be discussing more on your Uzumaki training. You seem to be able to grasp their taijutsu techniques, so I'll be teaching you their jutsus next. Quote, Naruto grimaced at the idea. I actually don't want to learn the fuinjutsu stuff. Why not? Don't get me wrong. I'm excited to learn all this stuff, but after going home and really thinking about it, I'm not comfortable with the idea of sealing things away. I mean, it could come in handy, but I don't want to solve things by sealing them away. So you'd rather kill it? Anoma thought that was efficient, but the boy immediately denied it. No, I mean, geez, how do I put it? Sealing people or monsters away doesn't solve the real issue, you know. It's like that saying, out of sight, out of mind. You know. Naruto tried to convey his feelings in words, but it was quite the struggle. But Anoma did understand. Gotcha. You compared the sealing jutsus to my situation. Quote, that's right. They solved your issue by just sealing you away into this mountain. Maybe you were a flight risk, but it shouldn't have been solved this way. But I pushed the situation to become this way. Quote, well, they should have pushed what they wanted another way if they cared about you. You missed out on a lot of things in Konoha just because you love someone. He may have tried to destroy the village, but he didn't. You could have stopped him or prevented any of it if the second wasn't such an ass. He's the one who deserves to be here. Not you. I'm glad he kicked the bucket because I would have given him a piece of my mind. Quote, Anoma held back a giggle. He kissed Naruto's cheek to show his appreciation. The boy was a bit weirded out, but got distracted by his response. You definitely have a way with words to warm a person's heart. I understand. I won't teach you fuinjutsu, but the least I can teach you is how to break seals and curses. It wouldn't make sense if a clan knows how to master one way of doing things without knowing how to break out of it. Quote, oh, so you're going to teach me how to break out of the mind transfer jutsu, right? Anoma laughed. In order to do that, you're going to have a stronger will than Ino. Naruto gulped when he thought of the scary side of Ino. I don't think I can face someone so scary, but I think I can beat Anoni at least. She only got lucky at hitting those targets. Well, I'm gonna show her that I'm more than some dumb luck. Believe it, I'm gonna become Hokage. Quote, the old man let out a pleased breath through his nose. Sasuke-kun. Sakura cried out when she finally caught him on his day off that happened to overlap with hers. Kakashi still wanted Sasuke to take day offs from their personal training to relax and put things into perspective. Sasuke glared at the fangirl. He just walked on and she followed, trying to make conversation. Ino was currently at the hospital. Though it was a day off from missions and she could relax, she had come to know the patients around here, so she was making visits to brighten their day with some flowers and fruit. When she was done with her visit of the day, she was surprised to find Naruto waiting for her. Huh, Naruto, what are you doing here? I came to talk to you, so I have been waiting. So you come to the hospitals on your day offs, too? Quote, it's just to brighten the patients' days and beautify their rooms. It's been said that a beautiful scenery can quicken recovery. Well, I wouldn't know that since I recover pretty quickly. The boy couldn't help gloating. Ino rolled her eyes. The two blondes then heard gossiping and giggling from old ladies. They were talking about how great they were at getting along and how Ino was making quite the respectable boy. They've heard this gossip before, so they left. So what was it that you wanted to talk to me about? Well, it's about you and Sasuke. So you noticed, too. I didn't mean to make it uncomfortable for you, too. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just confused. We were getting along as a team, but ever since the festival, I get the feeling something happened between you two and your grandpa thinks it has Sakura involved. Figures that grandpa would be perceptive. I just told Sasuke that he should give Sakura a chance. What? But I like Sakura. That doesn't mean that another guy can't like her. It just means that you need to try harder to get her attention. Quote, okay, fair enough. But don't you like Sasuke? I mean, I get that you two can't be together, but you shouldn't decide or even suggest he be with someone else. What about your feelings? This is about my feelings. Naruto, to be honest, I'm not sure of what my feelings for Sasuke are, especially when I compare them to Sakura's. Because we can't be together, I want to be friends. But even if we are, I still feel like there's a weight in my head. In the back of my mind, I couldn't help thinking that I'm in the lead, but I'm not trying my hardest. And it upsets me. I'm in a race that I'm not even a participant of, so why am I running? I had an opportunity to speak my mind, so I did. Quote, and did it help? I'm not even sure it did. A part of me feels liberated, but I can't help feeling pathetic that I lost before the race even began. I don't really get you, but all I can say is that it does feel like you're throwing Sasuke aside. Quote, I didn't mean to. She groaned. I know I always say too much, and I regret it, but I don't know what else to say to not make the situation worse. Did Sasuke say anything about it? No. He was silent. Quote, then maybe that's the problem. Sasuke is the one not talking. You need to hear his side. His side. Ino thought that made sense, and she felt kinda dumbfounded by Naruto's wise side. Wow. I didn't think you were so insightful, Naruto. Quote, hey, I pay attention to my teammates, too, and I may not seem like it, but I have a brain, too. I know. Ino petted his head. You really are becoming a great shinobi. Naruto blushed. He bashfully grinned. You really think so? Quote, Ino looked him directly in the eyes without a doubt in her eyes, definitely. The two smiled at each other, not caring who was around them. Everyone whispered to each other, and it carried all the way to where Sakura and Sasuke were. The pink-haired girl was surprised. Wow, caught having a moment in the middle of the streets. I guess your teammates really are together, Sasuke. The boy glared at her. He really had enough. For someone so smart from the academy, you don't have anything smart to say. You're only good at remembering what other people know, but never putting it into good use for anybody but yourself. You can't even get the hint that I don't want anything to do with you. I bet you're the one who spread those rumors of them dating without any substantial evidence. Sasuke looked over his shoulder a little to bear his harshest words. You're annoying. Sasuke walked away, not caring of how Sakura reacted to his words. He was too annoyed, and he didn't exactly understand why. The next day, while they waited for their sensei who still came late, Ino asked him to talk in private. Sasuke didn't know why, but Naruto seemed to when he gave them the privacy by walking away. Sasuke, I've been thinking a lot of what I told you at the festival. About Sakura and how it made things tense between us. I wasn't sure of what I did wrong, and talked to Naruto about it. Weird, I know, but it put things into perspective, and I realized I hadn't really thought of how you felt about it. I assumed you wouldn't care. I'm sorry, I don't. What you said was nothing important. That made Ino her head, furrowing her eyebrows at him. So why has it been awkward between us? That was all on you. Quote. Ino's jaw dropped once again, and she swore that the boy should be blessed that she had some restraint since she wasn't handling Naruto, who needed to be yelled at. They needed a mature conversation between them 12-year-olds. Excuse me, you're the one who has been acting stiffer than a log in the raining season. Sasuke just looked away. Don't ignore me. There's no point to this conversation. No point. She got right in front of him to grab his attention. I am trying to fix this awkward atmosphere we have, and you're avoiding it. I'm not avoiding it. Yes. Yes you are. Stop your yelling. No wonder Shikamaru complains about you. Ino's lips were shut as hurt and shock was evident in her eyes. Rage quickly overtook her. Are you really afraid of your feelings that you have to brush me off like that? And here I thought you were cool and composed, but you're really just a chicken to your emotions. You're the one trying to start an argument. I thought you were trying to fix what isn't broken. If you think that, then your eyes must be more crooked than I thought, oh Mr. Last survivor of the Sharingan. Ino knew she crossed a line, but she wasn't bowing down to even this boy. Naruto quickly came in, obviously eavesdropping on their conversation. Whoa, we don't have to get all heated up. We're a team, are we, Naruto? Ino's voice lashed out like a lightning snapping a tree off its roots. When we extended our hands to this guy, he took the opportunity to split us apart. That was so we can focus on improving our skills. The boy tried to reason. But Ino pointed out, but out of all the times to do that, he chose to do it right after we tried to establish a bond in this team. She glared at Sasuke, who looked disinterested. At this point, I realize I keep assuming that you're a good person under that coldness, but you're just a guy running away from anything good in his life. She turned away. Ah, Ino, where are you going? Anywhere but here. Naruto sighed and looked over to Sasuke. You really don't know how to treat girls. TCH. Like you're one to talk. Maybe I am, since you won't. Quote. Sasuke did not need that verbal smackdown from an idiot like Naruto of all people. When Kakashi came, he could sense the animosity. During the small mission that allowed for them to split up, Naruto explained how the situation went. I see. That is quite the problem that I don't even think I can help solve. Sasuke and Ino are incredibly stubborn. You should know what that's like. Naruto nodded with arms crossed, accepting of his stubborn trait. Ino's too critical on everyone since she's critical on herself. And Sasuke thinks he doesn't owe anyone anything. With attitudes like those, they're bound to clash. I've been thinking of ways to work things out between them, but I'm the one usually causing trouble that they needed to do it, so I'm not sure of what to do with them. Kakashi was impressed by how insightful Naruto had become of his teammates. It was only to be expected since they have trained hard together for practically 4 months almost every day. I want to fix things, sensei, but that's only if we can get Sasuke to open up. I know it's pushing it for the guy, but I bet even my weird classmate who's into bugs could be more sociable than Sasuke here. He placed his hands on his hips. If we're going to be a team, then isn't communication important both on and off the field? Kakashi honestly felt bad for being as impressed as he was at Naruto's consideration. He was usually such a brat, but put him in a situation he could understand well, his good traits would begin to shine. It is. What do you suppose we do? Well, right now, Ino is too heated to talk that she'll only say nastier stuff that I know must have hurt Sasuke's pride, so just for now, we show Old, let them cool off. And then we could have a group chat or something and we'll act as that guy who keeps things peaceful. The mediator. Yeah, that. You'd think it'd work. We won't know unless we try. Quote. And so for the next few days, Ino and Sasuke remained not talking to each other directly, but their teamwork during a mission remained flawless. They knew exactly how to keep personal issues aside to complete their goal, and when Naruto would act out of hand and argue with either of them, they still played the mediator role, but refrained from really scolding each other. It would be a sign that they cared for the other and was wielding from their fight. The fight went on for over a week that Naruto wasn't sure of what to do. He was glad that their fight didn't disrupt missions, but their lack of communication was very troublesome. Kakashi and him considered working things out with a talk, but when they tried to sneakily make them during lunch, they would glare at them because they knew full well of what they were trying to do. Kakashi then figured it was best that they figured this out on their own. Naruto wasn't satisfied with that, so he approached Team 10 about the issue since he didn't know anyone else who could. Anoma and Kakashi both figured that it would resolve on its own, but that wasn't good enough for Naruto. Yeah, we know 'bout sis and emo boy fighting. It was bound to happen. Anoni told him while they were enjoying barbecue. Do you know any way to fix it? The boy still hoped for an answer. Shikamaru sighed. What a drag. Naruto, helping stubborn people is a pointless effort. You just have to wait until one of them wears down, and it better be Sasuke since he's the one being the asshole. I know. Naruto wasn't denying it. I mean, he could have dodged the subject without getting Ino upset. We've been a team for 4 months now. He should have known better. Anoni supposed. Maybe whatever sis said really got on his nerves. I mean, it involved Pinky. Quote. Her name is Sakura, not Pinky. Whatever. Anoni ignored his growls. Anyway, I'd be also annoyed if one of you guys suggested to date someone else to make giving up easier. Even if I'm not in love with ya, I don't want ya to just throw me at someone just so you can care for me less. Quote. But it's not like Ino doesn't care at all. No, but it's still annoying. Everyone likes to be desired when it isn't obsessive. But that's how I feel, but I ain't emotionally stunted like your guy. Why don't you talk to him about it instead of crying over to us? I didn't come here crying. And talking to Sasuke. I think Kakashi. Really? You're relying on your sensei. Anoni and even Shikamaru were looking at him in disappointment. Guy whose reason for being late is that he was lost on the road to life is supposed to give direction. He's a good sensei. But does the situation really calls for that type of sensei? Shikamaru questioned. Naruto faltered. You're right. Asuma, who was present, just sipped his tea. Do children these days really have no respect for their sensei? Well, it was them after all. Dot. Underscore. 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 Sasuke huffed for air as he stared at the hole he put in a boulder. He was finally able to hold a Chidori's form in his hand, meaning he mastered the lightning-natured chakra. Good job. You now have mastered both the fire and lightning-natured chakra. Something only someone of the Chunin level would be able to accomplish. Kakashi complimented him. Yet your focus seemed to continue to lag. Sasuke glared at him. Just spout out whatever you have to say. Fair enough. It's about your little fight with Ino. It's not a fight. Quote. Fine. We won't call it a fight. However, are you really okay leaving things the way they are? Why wouldn't I be? Good point. You and Ino still perform perfectly as a team with even someone as unpredictable as Naruto. It's truly a shame to lose a valuable teammate over something petty. Sasuke glared at the man harder, knowing exactly what he was doing. But Sasuke couldn't deny that he was right. The fight was stupid, but she was a great team member, and being on her bad side was surprisingly more annoying. And being on her annoying good side. Kakashi easily read the boy's face, and held a small smile behind his mask. Alright, let's continue to work on your speed. You're still far too slow. Dot. Underscore. 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 The next day on a mission, Sasuke refused to look at Naruto, who was staring at him with an obvious expression that screamed, "I have to do something with you, but I don't know when's the right time." Ino and Kakashi were aware of it, but ignored it until the mission was over. They left immediately, with Ino barely ever giving Sasuke a glance. Sasuke. Naruto looked away from him finally with very thin lips that his face looked like a frog gone wrong. "Do you wanna talk?" Quote. Sasuke gave him the privilege to be taken into consideration in silence, but then answered, "No." But Naruto's face just got creepier. Sasuke walked away, which flipped a switch for Naruto to act more normal. "Hey, don't walk away from me. I'm talking to ya here." Talking. Or stuttering like an idiot. "I'm talking to the idiot. Man, no wonder Ino's so mad at you. You have seriously no respect for anyone." Quote. "Is that all you wanted to say?" "No, but obviously words mean nothing to ya, so I'm gonna hammer into ya with my fists." Naruto charged and the two engaged in combat. Sasuke immediately saw a shift in Naruto's taijutsu skills. The boy was far lighter on his feet and he was far more protective of his core, yet his cleverness remained in his movement. Sasuke couldn't help smirking at the improvement. HMPH. "Did Ino's grandpa teach you that?" Quote. "Ima-sensei certainly pounded it into me," Naruto declared proudly as he summoned his clones. The fight went on until nightfall, when the two could no longer stand. They remained lying on the grass with their heads facing each other. Naruto was still beaten black and blue, while Sasuke was left with only a few scratches and bruises. The blonde boy had his Uzumaki bloodline to thank for lasting as long as he did against Sasuke, but he was still determined to get better beyond his bloodline. Sasuke doubted he could catch up with how he was improving much faster with Kakashi as his sensei. "So hey, why don't you fix things with Ino yet?" Naruto finally asked, his tired form making it easier for him to open up to Sasuke. Sasuke sighed out. He figured that this was what the idiot wanted to talk about. "Fix what? She's the one overreacting. Ino can be pretty ridiculous, huh?" Naruto smiled at the thought of how she freaked out at being covered in mud during one of their missions. "But I don't think she's being ridiculous this time. She was really hurt, Sasuke. Because she doesn't think you respect her, care about her. Ino likes to act all put together, but..." Naruto think back to how when he was shopping with Ino, the girl had noticed a group of females hanging out Togath. "And oh my god, I'm so glad you guys like Inoma. .. After the failed mission to get to see Kakashi's face, Team 7 without their sensei went to Inoma's mountain to tell him about the progress their teamwork went through. Inoma smiled softly at them. Ino looked over to Sasuke with an excited smile. "We still have a long way to go before our teamwork is perfect, but we definitely became stronger. Hell yeah, thanks to you, I was close to beating Sasuke." Quote. HMPH. "In your dreams. What was that?" Ino ignored their usual bickering. "Anyway, I bought this." She took out a camera and a video camera from her bag. Inoma rose an eyebrow at the devices. "What's that?" Naruto was surprised. "You don't know what cameras are?" "I only know what children will tell me." Ino explained. "Dad told me that it's not illegal, but taking pictures can be dangerous. A lot of the villagers in Konoha don't know about Grandpa, but if they did, it may bring up unwanted feelings towards the Yamanaka clan. Boot. Kakashi-sensei never got the chance to see you, and just one video recording and a few pictures couldn't hurt." She set up the gizmos and explained to her grandfather of how it worked. She took the first picture, and the photo popped out. Inoma softly gasped at how the machine captured his appearance. He stared at the picture with childlike eyes as he rubbed the photo with his thumbs. Naruto stood very close to him to inspect his expression. Ino hit his head for his rudeness and pulled him away. Inoma's eyes glittered with amazement. "This is so crisp. Crisp. It's an expression back then." Inoma continued to stare at the image of himself. As villagers of the leaf, anything that you called cool was crisp back then, as an ode to the fun texture and sounds of the autumn leaves. Man, Mito would have loved this. Or was it built before she died? It would have been so crisp to take a picture with everyone. When I was put here, I only took a few of my own belongings with me. Back then, we had to be painted. Do you want to see them? Quote, seriously. Let's go. Naruto was all set and the two of them went over to one of the many caves of the mountain. There, Anoma took out a well-compacted chest that she opened with one of the many keys she had for a necklace. A ton of scrolls and drawings were inside. They were all drawn by a special painter who used oils that would make sure that all the painting not become smudged or faded if the paper became damp. He unrolled some of them on the floor. There was a map of Konoha before it expanded into the huge village it was today. There were drawings of the first Hokage with his wife and Anoma's best friend Mito. Naruto's eyes sparkled at the sight of her. Her hair was red. The Uzumaki clan were mostly redheads. I bet your own mother was a redhead, too. Back then, red hair wasn't popular. Neither was blonde hair like mine. Ino haven't heard of this. What did people in the past have against light hair colors? Quote, it was actually rare to have that color of hair. A majority of clans had black, brown or white hair colors. Even today, a majority of your classmates had darker hair colors, didn't they? The three thought back. Ino realized, now that you mention it, only Naruto and I were the blondes in our class. Ah, you're right. And isn't it weird how we were the only one with blue eyes? My eyes are more of a greenish blue actually if you look at them. Quote, Naruto got closer to inspect them. Oh right, your eyes do show some green just like Sakura's. And when you put it like that, Sakura has pink hair like her dad. Is that a Haruno clan thing? It is. The Haruno clan is actually one of the brightest clans in the village, having the mental capacity to handle any information. So she's smarter than Sasuke? Naruto inquired. Intelligence is far more broad than you think. The Haruno clan have what you guys would call book smarts. Your friend Sakura can handle remembering information she read off a book than she can during a training session. I worked with their clan members. Their ninja skills are only average, but their ability to remember information to the team made them valuable. Many times we have been able to infiltrate into enemy base, and we would act as if we lost or couldn't obtain the scroll filled with the information we needed when at truth the Haruno clan Ember had it all memorized in less than a minute. But shush. Anoma winked with a finger to his lips. If you tell anyone this trick, you'll lose the advantage. Oh wow. I knew Sakura was not only pretty but wow, I didn't know she had that kind of brain. I'm a little jealous. Ino smirked, but her ninja skills are still below average. If her teammates are doing her any justice, then they have to be average by now. There's nothing to worry about. If she's in trouble, I'll come to her rescue. Quote, Ino gave him a doubtful smile, but she let him dream the dream. Her eyes then laid on a team in particular. Grandpa, who are these three? He looked to the drawings. Oh, I believe I told you a little about them, Ino, but forgot to show you the paintings. That's my own squad of genins that I personally taught and my only one, but I wasn't assigned to them. Huh, the three children looked at him curiously that it was too cute. The old man told the story. As the schools were forming at the time, things such as teams of 3 and tests were just being introduced, and just about anyone who wanted to become a shinobi was able to enter. Even those who couldn't do ninjutsu or genjutsu, since it was still in such a work in progress stage. But when the third and his classmates were the very first class to go through a graduation in the academy and the test to become genins, my pupils were the least wanted. They were the failures of the class that were just put together so they didn't drag the other more so-called gifted students with them. If you were born at such a time, Naruto, you wouldn't have been teamed up with Ino or Sasuke. Quote, the boy frowned at this, but he knew deep down he deserved to be in this team and that he could do better. Anoma smiled down at him lovingly for his passion, and his eyes became reminiscent of the times. None of the new sensei wanted them, so I stepped in and took them under my wing. Their names were Miku Haruno, Might Kurai and Muyu Hyuga. Muyu, useless. Naruto was surprised by that name. Who would call their child useless? Quote, the Hyuga clan have a very strict class system within their clan. Muyu was born of a lower class, and his spiteful parents put their hatred onto him. They didn't bat an eye when I legally adopted him from them, but... Well, let's not start with sordid memories. Anoma sadly smiled before turning back the conversation. Miku Haruno was brilliant and beautiful like how you told me about your friend Sakura, Ino. Her hair was a magenta pink like Zinnia's and her eyes were a hazel green like their center. She could remember anything I taught her, but putting it into action was a lot harder. She had an inferiority complex for her face, so she always wore a mask, but she was just as determined to become strong like Might Kurai, and she lead them like a true leader. Quote, Might Kurai was pretty much the exact opposite. His looks were bizarre to even me, but his courageous and good heart made him infectious to love. He was my favorite student despite the fact that he couldn't use genjutsu or ninjutsu. Quote, oh, so that's the student Ino told me about. Naruto remembered. Anoma nodded. Yamanaka are supposed to act as supports, so our taijutsu should have been our weakest trait, but just like Inoni, I couldn't take that kind of role. My training was 3 times more intense than Shikano's or Chochira's. I trained both my mind, my will and my body to uphold the usage of my Yamanaka techniques, but also as a close combat fighter. Ino told the boys, you guys wouldn't understand how intense that is to try to become a long-to-close E-range fighter all in one. Even Inoni is struggling with balancing that sort of training. Wow, I never considered you were working that hard. Naruto admitted. Considering that I'm not paired with Shikamaru and Choji, I thought I had to since I didn't know where this team was going, and cons. Idering what happened at the Country of Waves, I have to keep up with that training to not be left that vulnerable again. Ino wasn't aware that those words would trigger guilt into her teammates until their expressions changed. Oh, but I know you guys will definitely watch out for me now. It was a whole new experience after all, so no biggie. Alright, that still didn't make them feel better. Anoma just continued after holding back his laughter. Ah, Kurai-kun was definitely a very observant boy. He always had his teammates' backs and used himself as a shield for them even if it meant giving his life. If a team needed a sacrifice, he was the one who volunteered without hesitation or fear. He was truly a shinobi who would do anything for the sake of others. He instilled that sort of confidence in both Miku and even Mumu, who had no confidence whatsoever. He only joined the academy to get an excuse to leave home for as much as he could without getting in trouble. He had no faith whatsoever in his Byakugan. He was the hardest to teach, but he was worth it. He taught me where the vital chakra areas in the bodies were that I could create my special acupuncture technique. Quote, that caught Sasuke's attention. Acupuncture technique. Anoma took out several acupuncture needles from his sleeve. If someone had rough chakra flows, I would help open them with my needles. Mumu didn't want to practice his clan's fighting style, so I made him into a needle and poison expert. While the Hyuga clan are supposed to be close combat fighters, Mumu became a long to mid-range fighter, Kurai being our close-range fighter, and Miku being versatile in either position that she needed to fill with her quick decision skills. But despite how much talent they presented, they never made it to the Chunin ranks. What? Naruto was deeply shocked. Why? Anoma frowned. A Chunin is a military-ranked captain. They're the ones in charge of leading a team into missions with the high possibility of engaging into combat. Miku Haruno showed great skills to become a Chunin, but due to her involvement with us, her chances were stunted. During the Chunin exams, Mumu's new techniques came to light, and this outraged the Hyuga clan. They demanded that the first took him out of my legal care. For lack of better words, I declined, so it became complicated. The Hyuga clan threatened to leave Konoha if I didn't bow down to their demands, but I still refused. Tori asshole Rama tried to legally get him out of my care, and even threatened to have me incarcerated. The whole village told me to give him back, but I continued to refuse. To make sure that Mumu remained safe and my clan wasn't affected by my actions, we hid at this very mountain. Here, the top Hyuga members came and tried to take Mumu by force. My students, Shikano, Chochira and Mito came to my aid, and we were able to take them down. This only intensified the clan's anger, and Toby Shitface sent his own forces against us. The entire village shook when we battled. People nearly died, but I wasn't going to relent even when Mumu cried for me not to. Righteous anger shone in his violet blue eyes. I was willing to kill the future second Hokage if that was what it took. But it actually took fighting their leader in one-on-one combat without weapons. My Yamanaka techniques weren't going to be useful either, so I was left with taijutsu. Something the Hyuga clan excelled at. Quote, "You can't be serious. That's cheating." Naruto couldn't believe it. It was, but I accepted. At the time before the fated battle, my hair was reaching my ankles, but all the way to my scalp. I cut it in one go before my students. I picked up strands of my hair and told them that if the red string of fate connected you to your soulmate, then the golden one must be connected to your dearest of friends. People who you can truly call your family. I tied their pinky fingers with my hair. I did the same for each person in my clan who believed in me, the same for those in the Nara and Akamaiki clan. Mito accepted without hesitation even if she was the first's wife. Anoma closed his eyes with a pleased smile. And for the battle, it was tough. I entered the arena with just my boar skull helmet and pants, and the leader was wearing a hakama. When it started, everyone was surprised by how graceful and skilled I was since they never saw me use my Yamanaka skills. On the field, when I knocked their leader down without a scratch, things got pretty intense. The guy got to break my helmet off, and the whole audience gasped when they saw what happened to my hair. It was ridiculous. But the best part was when I beat the idiot. Since that day, I was the most hated person of the Hyuga clan. But the story is so embarrassing, I doubt anyone in the clan knows about this. Ino shook her head. I did get some dirty looks from our Hyuga classmates' dad a few times, so I think his story is secretly passed down. Good. It'll put some damn humility into their shitty system. The man relaxed after telling such an intense story. So because of all this, my students couldn't become Chunin. Their defiance with me made them unreliable as leaders, but they didn't mind at all. They were still ninjas, and they were grateful because that meant they could still see me after I was put here. Mumu went on to work for the Yamanaka flower shop until I was reported to by Ino's actual grandpa that he died of old age. Kurai died during the First World War, protecting his teammates to the very end. Miku sadly died first among us due to a medical condition that no one knew the cure for until 22 years later. But she lived a fulfilling life and was strong to the very end. After that, Anoma put back the drawings, and he showed them the boar skull helmets he wore for a majority of his time. Turns out that because of his misguiding feminine beauty, he had to wear it. But after falling in love with his Uchiha sweetheart, he revealed his face as a symbol that he had met his true love. Ino then proceeded to take more pictures of her grandpa and with all of them together. She considered a video recording, but Anoma told her pictures should be enough. The three then left after eating dinner to head home. Naruto was smiling widely, thinking back to how Anoma's team, despite the tragedies, lived and died doing what they loved. I really like Anoma's students. I hope our team ends up that way. You want one of us to die of a medical condition? Ino jokingly inquired that it got a small chuckle from Sasuke. No, I meant do what we wanted until we die. Naruto clarified, all three of them weren't wanted at all, but they became someone worth respect and lived happily with loved ones. It's kinda like us. Ino corrected, it kinda like you guys. I never suffered. Quote, well, yeah, but you're still lonely like the rest of us. Naruto pointed out, thinking back to how Ino frowned at the sight of a group of female friends. Ino was surprised to be told that. It left her confused. I don't get what you're talking about, Naruto. I'm not lonely. Well, You do have a big loving family, but you don't actually have anyone who really gets you, and your mom is always busy doing something else, and she's not your actual mom to begin with. Sakura was your friend, but she chose to be your rival instead, and now you have no one who you can really talk to or shop with. Hanging out with you, I realized that you were popular back in the academy with pretty much everyone like Sasuke, but you never hung out with any of them. In fact, a lot of the girls said some pretty mean stuff behind your back. It comes with being that privileged girl, but I'm not lonely in the sense that you are. It's not a big problem. Ino said that as the end of the discussion, but Naruto pointed out, what's with that kinda talk? Just because you're better off than I am doesn't mean your problem doesn't matter. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it's not like I can fix it. If girls are going to despise me for just being me, then their friendship is something I can live without. Ino kept a strong face, but Sasuke and Naruto could tell that Ino wasn't truly fine with it. But they didn't know how else to argue. It's not like they can fix the problem unless Ino changes herself, but change what? The problem wasn't her flaws but her perfections, and that's something they can't ask her to let go. Back home, Ino entered her room. She couldn't believe Naruto had the nerve to call her lonely. She had a big family who were all loving and supportive. She belonged to a prestigious clan that was close to the Hokage. She had a place in life with goals that she was working hard towards. She was perfect, and yet felt so incomplete and insecure. After changing into her pajamas, she brushed her hair on her bed. Her eyes caught the picture she had on her night table. It was a picture of her and Sakura smiling together happily back before they became rivals. Ino, I heard that you like Sasuke. From now on we're rivals. Quote, the first few days of their rivalry was silent yet tense. All the girls were surprised that they weren't sitting next to each other like before, and that they even looked hatefully at each other. They thought it was just a fight between friends, but after lasting longer than over a week, they asked them about it. Ino didn't know how to answer at that moment. It was especially harder since Sakura was in the same room. So to avoid the whole thing, she coolly told them that what they had between them was nothing of concern. That must have struck a nerve with Sakura because she openly shouted at her, is that what you think? Why you? Ino pig. Ino's eyes widened at the first ever insult that was thrown to her face. Sakura was lucky that Anoni left with the boys during their recess because she would have smacked her, but Ino was left to react to this. The whole class of girls gasped at this because they trashed talk about Ino behind her back that this was the first time it was in front of her face. Ino was so deeply hurt and confused, yet she still loved Sakura so much, so she just gave in to this name-calling until it felt natural. Only they were allowed to insult each other, and the whole class knew that, so stayed away. So as messed up as this whole thing became, it became something special between them. Yet, Ino felt lonely. All the girls her age despised her. Those younger idolized her. Her stepmother was always busy during the day and was far too proper to really connect with, and Anoni was too much of a boy to have a girl's day with. They may be connected mentally, but there was still such a difference she was far too aware of. She thought that she was being selfish for having such feelings. She had so much. She shouldn't be asking for more. After another mission success, Sasuke went off with Kakashi for further training. Ino had already accomplished becoming a medical ninja at the hospital where she could handle bigger injuries on the battlefield now, so her time was free and she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Hey Naruto, do you know whose birthday's coming up? She asked excitedly. The whiskered boy his head to the side. Yours. Nope. It's Sasuke's. His birthday is on the 23rd. It's 3 days from now, and I figured it would be a good time for us to get him a birthday present together. I know he's not one for parties, so we'll have a small one with Team 7 and probably even Iruka at his favorite restaurant that makes the tastiest of onigiri. I already have a present, but I knew you wouldn't know, so I'll help you find one. Quote, a present for Sasuke? Why would I get him one? That ticked off Ino. Because he's your teammate and friend. Geez. Didn't you make a whole speech about it? I did. Naruto played stupid, having Ino headlock him and yelling in his ear as punishment for his attitude. But they stopped when they heard some shuffling. They looked back to see a strangely shaped rock that was supposed to blend in with the paved road. Ino let go of Naruto and they stared at it for a moment before ignoring it. However, the thing began following them. Naruto more specifically. Being the Naruto he was, he tested if it was following him, and it was. Alright, enough already. I already know it's you Konohamaru. Just because you made the rock look more realistic this time, doesn't mean I wouldn't see the two obvious holes on there. Konohamaru revealed himself with his squad. Hey big brother Naruto, are you free today? Exclamation mark quote. Sorry. I have to go with Ino to get a present. What? But you promised to play ninja with us. The kid reminded him with his teammates nodding their heads, and it looked like Naruto did make that promise by his flinch. Ino smiled at how cute it was for Naruto to play with kids younger than him. Sorry, Konohamaru, but our friend's birthday is coming up soon, and Naruto needs to pick out a present now or he'll forget and get something lame. Quote, hey, I can pick a good present. I just don't see why I have to shop for that guy. The blue-eyed boy defended himself. Ah, big sister Ino. Konohamaru knew her since he was Asuma's nephew, and family gatherings gave them opportunities to see each other. They weren't close, but since she was close to Naruto, Konohamaru began the whole, big sister, thing which Ino didn't mind. It was pretty cute. Then if it's a present, we can help. They offered but Naruto shut them down, sorry but we're not shopping for little kids. Quote, who are ya calling a little kid? I think it's a great idea. Ino believed. You did make a promise Naruto to spend time with them, so in this way, everyone wins. But I don't win. I just wanna train with Inoma-sensei. Quote, tough luck. Let's go. Ino walked away with the kids following her. Naruto dragged himself behind. The five of them went to different clothing and weapon shops, oohing and ahhing at everything they saw. Naruto tried not to have fun, but Konohamaru pulled a little prank on him that got him riled up and then he was pulled into doing a fashion show with the kids while Ino watched. They were supposed to be shopping for Sasuke, but instead they ended up shopping for themselves. Moegi bought a pair of cute hair clips, Ino bought Udon some medicine to help with his snot dripping problem, and Konohamaru got some pants. They then went to the park where they played together. Ino and Moegi were chatting up about fashion and training as a kunoichi while the boys were also talking about training, which somehow turned into a heavy debate about who truly deserved the number one spot as the swimsuit model. When Konohamaru revealed his jutsu, Ino punched Naruto for teaching a young boy such an indecent jutsu. The two got into an argument about how Konohamaru had to be raised. The kids started crying for them to stop with Konohamaru promising to only use the jutsu for good. Ino didn't see how in any situation that jutsu could be used for good, but at least the boy was going to try to be smart with it. After that drama, they bought them ice cream to cheer them up. They then went up to the Hokage rock to watch the sunset with Naruto and Konohamaru claiming to being the next Hokage someday. Ino smiled at the idiots. They may have not finished their mission, but they still had 2 more days. They then dropped the kids home. Man, kids are expensive. Naruto pouted as his frog wallet that wasn't empty but less than he liked. Hey, you were the one who offered to buy Konohamaru those pants. Ino pointed out with a cheeky smile. Naruto looked away blushing. That's because that idiot doesn't know how to take care of his pants. I bet he's making his mom scrub them till morning to get those stains off. Oh, don't hide it. You were proud by how hard he worked that you wanted to reward him. What? No way. I don't care what that brat does in his spare time. He doesn't have to imitate me. Ino inwardly giggled at his shyness. So there was a cute side to that Tsundereness Naruto had. Well, here's where we split. I had a lot of fun today, Naruto. Oh, I did too. Quote, Let's try buying Sasuke a present tomorrow, alright. She winked at him. Naruto groaned. But I don't wanna buy him a present. He continued to grumble, but when he thought about today, he couldn't help smiling. It truly was fun. Dot. Underscore. 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 The next day, both Ino and Sasuke were early to the meeting that they knew their sensei would be late for, but their pride as a ninja made them appear. Naruto usually came in time unless he set his alarm clock. Ino told Sasuke about the time her and Naruto had with the kids yesterday without spilling what their objective was. Sasuke bothered to listen since it was amusing to know about how Naruto did with kids whose ages matched his mentality. After finishing the story, Ino asked Sasuke what he thought about kids. The boy admitted that they were a nuisance, which was no surprise, and Ino somewhat agreed since kids can be annoying. She was about to talk about a whole new other story involving them that led to flower shop chaos, but then to their surprise, Kiba and Akamaru appeared with Shino. Hey you guys. Long time no see. The dog person greeted with a happy bark from the fur ball. Kiba, Shino, what brings you guys here? Ino happily asked. They weren't close, but Ino was always cheery to see classmates. Sasuke just paid attention in case something would catch his interest. We just came back from a mission earlier, and planned with Team 2, Sakura's team, to hang out with your sister and her team since we're all going to be free. Wished you guys were free, too. It's been a while since we hung out. I know, right? It's been months. What do you guys plan on doing? We figured we'd just hang out at Shikamaru's family's forest to just chill and hang. But Team 2 said that they had business with you before they'd hang out with us. Don't know what business you guys have, but Shino and I figured we'd come here to confirm on something. We've been hearing a rumor that you and Naruto were going out. Congratulations. What? Ino and Naruto, who just appeared, screamed. Sasuke inwardly cursed. He hoped this rumor would just blow away so this didn't have to happen. Me and Naruto. Ino rasped in distress. Naruto was the same. Me and Ino. The two blondes looked at each other and were disgusted. Ew. We're not dating. Ino yelled. Yeah, we're like siblings. That's just gross, man. Naruto agreed. Shino reminded them, that's why he said it was a rumor. Why? The whole village thinks you two are dating because you would spend a lot of time together with neither your sensei or your other teammate. That's 'cause they're totally antisocial. The blondes yelled in unison. Sasuke grimaced at their rudeness. What? Just 'cause we're a boy and girl, we can't spend time together? Ino inquired. That's just so low. What scum made up this lie? Naruto demanded an answer. Sasuke provided. It was Sakura. Everyone was surprised. She saw you two together, and she made her own assumptions, spreading it around the village as if it would make it true if she did. Quote. Ino asked, why would she do that? Why do you think? If you date Naruto, then she thinks she'll have a chance with me. Sakura would never do that. Right, Ino? Naruto thought she'd agree, but Ino wasn't listening. She seemed shocked and even hurt that Naruto became worried. Ino. The girl snapped out of her reaction, remembering where she was. Ah, I need a moment. Ino walked away. Naruto was shocked by her reaction. He didn't want to believe that Sakura did this, but if it was true, then Ino was hurt, and Naruto hated that. But he didn't want to think that Sakura was a bad person. She must have had her reasons. Wow. Kiba spoke up, cutting the tension. I figured they hated each other, but Sakura really reached a whole new low. That broke Naruto out of his conflicted feelings to defend Sakura, which led to him getting into an argument with Kiba and Sasuke, leaving Shino ignored. As for Ino, she went to one of the many bridges of Konoha where little people passed by. Anoni appeared since she sensed her, and since she sensed Kiba being near her group, it was not a riddle to be figured out. Yo, you heard the rumor, huh? Ino groaned, planting her head on her forearms on the rail. I can't believe Sakura did that to me. I get why she did it, but that's a whole new low. I can't believe her. What's there not to believe? The elder twin got on the bridge's rail. I told you before, haven't I? That girl plays dirty to get what she wants. But we were friends. If we switched positions, I wouldn't spread a rumor that she was dating Naruto. She'd kill Whisker Boy if that happened. The tomboy said more to herself before saying, besides, isn't it obvious that that two-faced bitch Dawn T give a shit about friendship? That girl hangs out with nobody, and drags the team down. Daira and Kuno's, Sakura's teammates, told Misa that Sakura barely gives it to being an actual ninja. What d. Quote. Ino sighed. She really had no place to defend that girl now. Anoni got down and rubbed her back. Okay. Got out of hand there. But hey, the elder sister pointed out, you got better friends now. That Naruto kid ain't half bad. He'll definitely get over Pinky this way. Ino half-heartedly sobbed and groaned. I thought that if I kept this whole clan rule thing a secret, it would inspire Sakura to train harder. But all it did was turn her into a bad friend. Did she really think she'll win by just putting me out of the picture? She's book smarts, remember. She knows this shit but ain't a natural in going by them. Anoni sighed. Forget her. She's done nothing but wronged you. She broke your friendship. She turned your rivalry into a bad drama, and now she's doing stuff behind your back. She ain't no wicked demon, but she's a backstabbing bitch who deserves to have no friends. Quote. You're going too far again. It's not like the rumors are playing me out as a horrible person, but to go behind my back to manipulate my love life by lying to everyone. Does Dad know about this? Oh yeah, everyone does, but some don't give a shit. Others needed to get their shit together, Dad, and you know how kids and old people are like. Ino's shoulders continued to droop in dissatisfaction. And you didn't bother to tell me because. Anoni lightly shrugged. Like everyone else who actually knew a thing about you and Blondie, we didn't give a and forgot about it. Makes sense. I guess this doesn't really change anything. The village was bound to make the rumors whether or not Sakura started it. Ino felt herself calm down. She decided to go back to her team with Anoni. When they got back, Sakura's teammates were there, and they didn't look happy. Naruto looked angry and Sasuke was annoyed. Kiba and Shino were just spectators. Daira, Kunos, what are you two doing here? Ino asked. Naruto answered for them. Ino, hear this. These guys are trying to get Sasuke to date Sakura. He was whacked by the back of a chain sickle by Daira, who scolded him for his poor choice of paraphrasing. We only ask that Sasuke acted a little nice to our depressed teammate because he stated cruel words to her the other day. We hoped that she would return to her normal state eventually, but she hadn't bothered to recover into a tolerable state. Kunos yawned. No apologies or false pleasantries needed. She smacked her lips, brushing away her tired tears with her hands. Just say that you recognize her other skills as a ninja, and she'll live off that for months. Everyone felt purple lines at the back of the heads. Kiba rhetorically questioned, what do you even think of your teammate? Quote. No way. Naruto loudly objected. Sakura doesn't need a pick-me-up from Mr. Emo himself. You started a disease. Sasuke sarcastically said to Anoni, who grinned. Ino ignored Naruto to talk to Sasuke. I think you should do it, Sasuke. Quote. Ino. Naruto and everyone else except for Anoni was shocked. I mean, I'm furious with what she did. That girl can go and get punched in that big forehead of hers 100 times. But you really need to be more gentle with girls, Sasuke. Daira and Kunos used up their precious free time to come here because they're worried about their teammate who you hurt. It's unfair if you let one of the new genin teams be disbanded because of you. Then good. These two don't need someone who can't aspire herself to be a ninja just because I spoke badly to her a few times. He looked to Sakura's teammates, and I recognize that right now we have the top 5 students of the academy here. Daira placed 4th behind Shino while Kunos placed 5th. And Sakura was put in your team to make up her lacking ability in being a proper kunoichi. It's the same thing for me and Ino with Naruto. Hey. The blonde was ignored for Sasuke to continue. if Naruto had the same attitude as Sakura where he can't handle being insulted by his so-called crush, and is willing to put his teammates at a disadvantage, I wouldn't think of trying to convince that crush to sweet-talk him just so he can stop being a nuisance. Who are you call? Anoni headlocked Naruto so he can stop interrupting this good drama. Instead I'd rather drag him and fling his body like a meat shield. If he's going to get himself killed in a mission for his ineptitude, then so be it. We are ninjas now, not school children or normal civilians. We are expected to face any obstacles in our way, even if it means to die trying. Sasuke sounded like he had a sound point that everyone agreed, but Ino argued, but we're still 12 and are normal civilians underneath the ninja. We have normal problems and just bottling up our emotions, ignoring it, or simply thinking you can overcome it by just pure will is not healthy. I get that you don't want to go through the trouble of even thinking you're lying to Sakura, but you do mean a lot to her, Sasuke. Quote, that's none of my concern. I don't see what she likes about me, and honestly, I'm not interested at all. Naruto wanted to break through Anoni, but damn, the girl was strong for just being a support in her team. That's cold, dude, Kiba commented. But it's no surprise. Shino added. Ino still argued, fine, you're not interested. But being a ninja also comes with doing things that are bothersome like all the D rank and C rank missions we do. Yeah, we could be doing something we think is better for ourselves, but when it comes down to it, we are doing exactly what being a ninja is about, and that is protecting and supporting one another. HMPH. Sasuke huffed. That's what you think being a ninja is, but for me, it's about getting stronger so that those who wronged you or oppose you won't get in your way to achieve justice. Daira and Kuno's side glanced each other, getting into this argument. The leader spoke, true words spoken from one who has everything to protect and another who has nothing to lose. Anoni allowed Naruto to break free. Hey, we're getting out of topic. We were talking about Sakura. She's sad and depressed, and I won't stand for it. Kiba told him, so why don't you go do something? Not that it's gonna help. She doesn't even like you. Naruto felt pain from that blunt fact, that he couldn't retort. Anoni glared at the situation and decided to leave. Nobody stopped her because they were sucked into their own novel-like drama episode. Ino ignored Naruto's passionate yet failed statement to continue arguing with Sasuke. Yes, being a ninja comes with pursuing justice for those who've been wrong. But your choice to lack in compassion will hinder your ability to instill that justice. You can become powerful, but without compassion there is no restraint, and without restraint, you'll ruin what you sought out to do. Quote, I hear what you're saying, but I don't see why I should still try to cheer up Sakura. You talk about compassion, but like you told me before, you won't enable me to act like the asshole you call me to be. I'm doing the same for Sakura. If I let her believe I recognize the good she does and seem like I'm ignoring the terrible side of her, isn't that enablement? Not compassion. Ino wanted to win this argument, but Sasuke got her there. Sakura did not do something unforgivable, but she still did a bad thing that can't be overlooked or else it could escalate to something worse. Naruto tried to talk big against Sasuke, but his words were hollow. He was only acting out of affection for Sakura instead of taking in the issue at hand, and he knew it. With that argument finished, Daira and Kunos decided to drop their half-plan and maybe consider going back to the academy or find other disbanded graduates to form their team if Sakura decides to drop out after all. Kiba and Shino followed them to go hang out. And just about right, Kakashi was greeted to a very unbalanced, awkward atmosphere. Naruto was furious but also defeated. Ino was deeply troubled while Sasuke was silently being considerate to his teammates, thinking through what our problem they had. The sensei anime sweat dropped to this, wondering if his lateness was starting to take a toll on his students. Sakura was blankly staring at the bottom of a well in the middle of a forest. She didn't want to deal with anyone. She believed that they wouldn't understand the pain she felt. All she wanted was for Sasuke to notice her. She just wanted him to notice how hard she worked, so he could fall for her. But life was so unfair. She was the smartest and prettiest girl in the academy. Ino might have been the top student in the academy, but she had every right, too, to be in Sasuke's team. If only she had been placed on his team, then she wouldn't have been so desperate to do what she did. It wasn't like it wasn't going to happen if she didn't do it. Ino was spending so much time with Naruto and blushing like a girl in love. Ino was so obviously falling for Naruto and was just keeping Sasuke to herself just to piss her off. Sakura though blamed herself for pushing Ino to fight for Sasuke's affections. If she had just noticed the great chemistry that Ino and Naruto made, she would have tried to set those two up. Oh, who was she kidding? She should have been able to get Sasuke even if Ino was on his team. And now because of her own stupid, rash decisions, she dug her own grave. She truly was annoying. She felt herself fall into despair, but didn't expect to feel it kick her in the butt and push her into the well. Ah, use chakra, idiot. Sakura immediately attached her feet to the wall, which helped stop her from landing in the water. She also recognized that voice. INONI. You crazy half-wit. I'm going to beat you into a pulp when I get up there. Shanaru. Anoni snorted loudly for her to hear. I doubt a commoner bitch like you can try. What did you call me? Sakura bounced through the wall of the well before trying to give Anoni a well-deserved kick. But the blonde dodged her with a mocking smirk, which only fueled the violent girl. She tried to throw consecutive punches at her, but Anoni dodged smoothly as if she was dancing. It fueled Sakura to yell, "Stop running away, you dyke." Quote, punch. Sakura was not prepared for the full-fledged fist to the face by the girl who punched like professional. Sakura was just left dazed after the impact, that she didn't comprehend that she was on the ground or that her face was in pain. When reality came back crashing down on her, she was still left on the ground, unsure of what to do. Anoni wasn't special to her like Sasuke was, she wasn't her rival like Ino was, and she wasn't just anyone she could push around like Naruto was. There was no connection nor room to beat this girl down. Anoni looked down at her in disappointment. What? Are you gonna be a bitch or be pathetic? I only came to avenge my sister. That gave Sakura something to grab hold of between the two of them. So you came here to beat me up. For your information, just because you're Ino's twin sister, doesn't mean that you can just butt into our rivalry. Anoni snorted, her greenish-blue eyes darkening at the idea. Rivalry. Please. Just 'cause you were chosen to be prettier by a bunch of half-grown boys and have a brain behind that huge-ass forehead of yours, doesn't make you a true kunoichi. That's big coming from a so-called girl like you. Quote, at least I'm acting like a ninja who can protect my teammates. Daira and Kunos is so tired with your attitude, that they went to Sasuke to get him to trick you into think he actually gave a shit. Sakura gasped in surprise. They did what? Anoni just continued, and Sasuke denied 'cause he had better things to do. Ha! I bet you're thinking that you wouldn't mind it if Sasuke did lie. You'd just twist everything into what you want to see. Quote, that's not true. Whatever. Anoni turned to leave. Ino wasted her childhood being friends with a twisted, selfish bitch like you. Take that back. Sakura finally stood up with balled fists. If anyone is the twisted, selfish bitch, it's you and Ino. You just like to act like you're better than everyone, and Ino just wanted me as some tag along to make her look better. Anoni clicked her tongue, facing back to the pink girl with disgust and disappointment that infuriated the other girl. More delusional. Expected from a spoiled girl like you. You have no idea what it's like to be made responsible for someone and how to make friends. Did you really take my sister's kindness for selfishness? You think that the whole time she's been making ya confident of your forehead and giving ya friends that she just wanted to show you off like some dog you are? Stop calling me a dog. And Ino is just that kind of girl. You just have too big of a sister complex to see it. Ino has been looking down on me from the start, so I made ourselves rivals to reveal who she truly was, and fight her to show who's better. With Sasuke, yada yada, I heard all this before. Geez, you're never gonna bloom with these line of thoughts. All these terrible things you think about yourself is just on you. Ino had nothing to do with your shitty self-esteem and negative thoughts. Geez, you a wreck. Anoni sighed out of exasperation. I didn't come here to give ya this long of a lecture, but I guess for Daira's and Kuno's sake, I'll tell you a hint to get Sasuke's attention. Sakura looked at him suspiciously, about to say something, but the kunoichi quickly told her, start acting like a real damn ninja. Sasuke only acknowledges other ninjas. He talks to me cause I can do my damn job and be an asset to the team without also being a helpless target. You're making us support ninjas look bad, and Sasuke don't have time for that. If you really want Sasuke to see you as not an annoying bitch, then stop acting like one. Sakura was left silent. She knew that already. It's just that, being a ninja was harder than she expected. She can't help freezing when a real threat appears. She trains with her teammates, but they're always steps ahead of her that she can't keep up. And them helping her, only bruised her ego more. She may have a big brain, but she couldn't utilize it in a real battle. Feeling lost, she decided to watch Team 7 train. Even though Sasuke harshly rejected her, she was still in love with him. She couldn't help herself as she watched Team 7 fight against Kakashi's clones. Sasuke was cool as usual. Ino was annoyingly good, too, that Sakura was wishing she'd just fall flat on her face. When she did lose against her sensei, Sakura couldn't help snickering, but she'd gasp when Sasuke also lost. But at least he lasted longer than Ino. Sakura didn't pay much attention to Naruto like usual, but soon, she couldn't help watching. The class clown with no skills suddenly fought with more grace. His movements swung as if he was having the wind carry him. His twists and turns on his feet and growing ability to multitask with his limbs were surprisingly amazing. Yet he still landed on his butt as a loser. Wow, Naruto, you really improved after being trained by my grandpa. Ino told him, you really moved like a tornado or whirlpool, just like your family's crest. She pointed at the red swirl on Kakashi's sleeve. Hehehehe. Naruto blushed by the compliments. You bet I am. I'm a tornado, baby. A whirlpool of amazement. Okay, cool it down. But you really did come a long way, Naruto. You were this idiot who had nothing but his big mouth, but now you actually have some skill that won't be used for pranks. Quote, hey, weren't you supposed to be complimenting me? Naruto fumed. Sasuke remarked, if she did just that, you'd let it get to that small head of yours, and start acting like a doofus. Who are ya callin' a doofus, bastard? Quote, I better tell you slowly, so you can catch on. Why you? Okay, that's enough, you two. Kakashi stepped in between them to move on with the training where they were to come at him as a team. Sasuke and Naruto stepped forward while Ino remained at the back as support. Sakura had been too busy or depressed to watch them, so she focused on their teamwork. She never dreamed that Sasuke and Naruto could fight as a duo. However, the two moved in sync against their sensei, with Ino throwing weapons at her sensei or to the boys. Sakura couldn't see it, but she definitely believed that Ino was possibly using her telepathy to help them in their teamwork. Sakura envied that Ino came with a clan that actually gave her special training and gifts. Honestly, that was cheating. Sakura came from a clan that wasn't special in any way. Anoni was just too full of herself, thinking she had any right to lecture her or give her any pointers. Her attention was caught when Kakashi used a clone to disrupt Ino's support to her teammates, and Sakura expected her to become hopeless like she would have been in that situation, but Ino didn't falter. The look in her eyes weren't anything that Sakura had seen before. They weren't filled with a sunny-like brightness from her confidence. Instead, they glinted like a blade as she faced the clone without losing the opportunity to continue aiding her team. Ino shone her clever side in tricking and manipulating her sensei, who had caught onto some of the tricks, but it wasn't all of them. A Naruto clone suddenly appeared to aid Ino, and they moved as if they were two magnets that determined the movement of the other. As dumb as it may seem to think, but Sakura didn't think that that was through telepathy at all. They moved too quickly and in such a way as if they just knew in their bones of what the other needed to succeed. Sakura's eyes opened to see Naruto acting as both the fighter and the support of the team. This allowed Ino to switch roles as well to show off her taijutsu before having Naruto constrict the clone, so Ino could take it out. She then turned to the real Kakashi, pitching some sort of bag at the sensei. Naruto helped Sasuke jump into the air to use his fire jutsu to hit the bag. Clones of Naruto held the real Kakashi down. He was able to get them off, but didn't have enough time to get out of the explosion unscratched. Kakashi did lost his footing when something slippery was beneath his feet. Sasuke took the opportunity to stab him with kunais, but it turned out to be a wooden dummy. Yet the real Kakashi who was hiding beneath the ground couldn't hide his chakra low enough for Ino not to track him within her ran. This led to her using some sort of unique liquid to soak into the ground and soften the dirt above him. Sasuke then used his fire jutsu again burn their sensei, but the man was quick to escape. Yet Naruto who had his clones waiting at every possible angle was there to try to stop him. The fight continued on until they were exhausted and Kakashi was also a little breathless compared to his worn-out genins. He became that way since Naruto's stamina outmatched his own, but the ninja still had a long way to go before he could successfully beat him. Excellent. Your teamwork is improving, which means there is still much improvements to be desired, but you are steadily heading there. Sasuke, you did amazing as always. You showed to be able to be both a leader and a follower as you allowed Ino to lead the situation since she had a better idea of the situation. Your skills as an Uchiha have also been improving, and I'm glad to see that you put your team's abilities into consideration to complete the goal. And not insistent on using the new jutsus and moves I taught you just because this is mere practice. Quote, Sasuke said, I had a good example not to. Ino covered her snort while Naruto was clueless. Kakashi continued on to Ino, I could say the same for Ino. I'm pleased to see that you added your family's weapons into your arsenal. Quote, Ino smirked with determined eyes, my family and I own a flower shop after all. It's only natural that we know various poisons and chemicals. I didn't know poisons could soften the ground. Naruto said, that wasn't a poison, Naruto. It's one of Yamanaka's special concoctions that we use. A lot of plants need their own soil, so we make it ourselves. Whoa. Naruto was greatly impressed. Ino happily smiled with a small blush on her cheeks. She then said that she had enough chakra to help heal Sasuke, and Sakura who remained watching was surprised to see Ino using medical ninjutsu. Sakura remembered Ino telling her when they were kids that she would learn that since she would become the support in her team. She grimaced at how close her hands were to Sasuke's face, and how she used her damn handkerchief to wipe the dirt off his face. The nerve of that girl taking points. Sakura bet that she would have done a better job. Kakashi continued, Naruto had also shown to be improving his ability to work as a teammate, but you seem to not be taking any leads to our training. You showed once in our mission at the country of the waves your ability to be a tactical leader, but you still haven't been able to show that sort of skill again. Though Sasuke and Ino can lead well enough, you also need to show a bigger initiative. Not in your skills but how you can utilize others. You won't be able to become a chunin until you master that. Quote, Sakura thought Naruto was just going to talk big again, but surprisingly the boy spoke with a more calmer, mature tone, I know that. It's just that I wanna be more focused on improving myself first as a ninja since I just started my new training. I do think up ideas of how we can make this team work, but I haven't perfected it. That last part didn't sound entirely safe and promising to everyone, but they didn't comment. Sasuke and Ino may have gotten a head start, but I'm not that far behind. Believe it. Kakashi smiled at Naruto's serious declaration. He guessed that it must be part of Inoma's doing. Good. We'll train again tomorrow. Ino sighed tiredly at that fact. Naruto was excited while Sasuke acted cool like usual. Naruto then suggested eating at Ichiraku's for a celebration, but Ino shut that down for a home meal at Choji's place instead. Kiba's, Anoni's and Daira's team were heading there for dinner after doing whatever they did today. Naruto was hesitant, but Ino pointed out that she can tell Choji to make an order since the more food the merrier. Sakura frowned as they left. They really were good as teammates, and Sasuke looked happy. Happier than he's ever been as he teased Naruto and chatted with Ino. If only she could pull Ino away and take her place. Somehow make Ino fall in love with someone else. Anyone at all. Sakura walked through the dimly lit streets of Konoha, but then a flyer caught her eye. It was a couples competition tomorrow, and there was a metal box underneath it. This kind of competition involved an obstacle course where couples are expected to help each other go through it without ninja tricks, and if they win without cheating, then they get a big prize. She stared at this and then wrote on a piece of paper, Ino Yamanaka and Naruto Uzumaki. There. Now that she did that, she felt determined to continue on her quest for Sasuke. She took Anoni's advice to better herself as a ninja.